Can I have a show of hands? How many here are non-Toastmasters? 1, 2, and 3. Oh, there's one more. 4. Yes, no, I did it. Okay. For the rest of you, thank you for coming. And for the non-Toastmasters, congratulations for taking the first step into uncharted territories. I understand it's not a very comfortable feeling right now. I'm glad that you chose Katong Toastmasters Club because this is one of the few clubs that feels like home, even though you're new. So I hope you enjoy your place here, your time here, and let's begin. Who here wants to compete in a competition this year? I'm asking the Toastmasters. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and for the rest of you, the other Toastmasters? Oh, is that it? Is that district officer? Okay. Now, usually when I ask this question, I wish that everyone would raise their hands. And actually, if I were in the audience a few years back, I would also have the same response. I would not raise my hand. Because I don't have the competitive streak. I don't bother if people think I'm the best speaker or not. I am just a homemaker. The people who listen to me are 5-year-old, so if they don't listen, I have to shout louder. So you don't really need that much skill, I just speak like that. So competing in a competition of that level really did not come to mind at all. So I'll just give a brief introduction so that everybody is on the same grounds. The reason why I competed last year was purely to fill in a quota for my club. Yeah, so I happened to be the one, and then it just went rolling. I started continuing getting first and having to write more speeches after another, and it landed me at the top 10 positions in the world this year. That's really something that I never expected at all. And now that I have this responsibility, but throughout that journey, I constantly ask myself, now that I have this power, what am I going to do with it? Because it is something that doesn't come just with a trophy. It comes with that power to influence people. And that's where I started to realize that this competition is really not just only a competition. It is a valuable opportunity for you to speak out loud whatever message that you have for everyone, for anyone. And the higher you go, the chances of speaking to a bigger audience, creating a much bigger ripple effect is there. And that, if you focus on just that purpose, every time I ask, if you want to compete, then definitely your answer will be yes. Because just a few words can save a person's life. We have just now Malcolm. If you know his journey, he mentioned he has depression right now. If no one in the world spoke about depression, would he be able to bravely stand in front of everyone and admit he is going through depression? We know many times people with depression suffer in silence. And that's only because they're too afraid to speak out loud their message. They're afraid, and because they don't hear people out there who might not be suffering from depression talking about it. So that is what Toastmasters is about. That is what competition gives you, this opportunity. There is an audience, you speak that message. You don't know if there's another Malcolm in there struggling in silence, maybe not as strong as him. And just saying the right words at that right time will give that big impact. You might save that life. So this is what I'm going to help you with. Speaking in front of an audience is not easy. All Toastmasters can tell you, even those people with the gift of the gap will say it is not an easy task. But in my journey, I have learned how to make this big task become more manageable so that people who have nervous issues will not find it that scary anymore. Fun fact, the more you speak, the less the audience listen. So, if you want to be an effective speaker, don't Just stand and use very minimal words. And that will be my focus for the workshop for the next few minutes. How to keep your speeches very short and simple. I have a few tips, but I'm only going to give you some of the most valuable ones, most practical ones that you can apply immediately. And we're going to work on it. It's called a workshop, so I'm going to make you work, okay? Yeah. The first one is to keep your speeches short and simple. How do you do that? Choose short and simple words. What are short and simple words? They are words that involve 2 syllables and less. As far as possible, use words that only have 2 syllables and less. That's one way of defining short and simple. The other way to define short and simple words is if the word is easily understood by children in the primary school level. Okay, Singapore maybe might be an exception because we have geniuses here in primary school, but generally. Why? This is the reason. When you are standing in front here, in front of a crowd that you don't know, the barrier is very wide. Even if you are friends, whenever you are in front, you develop that barrier that blocks your message from the person. So the last thing you want is to use big, impressive words to confuse the people. Not only that, big words or words that have many syllables are painful to a person's ear. Subconsciously, it will affect your processing ability for the message that you want to present. So if you use big words, it affects the person's ability to really appreciate your message. So this is where work comes in. Easy, yeah? I'm going to introduce you to this game called Simple Susan. Simple Susan is Lazy Susan's little sister. Simple Susan, yeah. Her mission is to keep life simple. She is that simple girl next door that Sadiq might like. So, you like complicated ones. I like it's short. Yeah. So, I'm going to play with you again. All of you, Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters. I will show you some big complicated words. Most of these words were used in my speeches before this. And your task is to suggest shorter words as fast as possible. Okay? I'm going to give maybe about 30 seconds per card. And we'll see how easy it is or difficult. Where is my timer? Hold on. Sorry? Yeah. But she's doing timing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multitasking. It's alright. Okay, ready? Anybody understand? Everybody understand the rules? Simple. I'm going to show you huge words and we are going to cut it. Suggest short words. At the back of every card, there are words from thesaurus.com. And I chose those words that mean the same thing, different context maybe, but they say they are much shorter than the other ones. Stay short as much as you want. Okay, ready? 1, 2, and 3.
Big, huge.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Okay. That's right. I put mango.
Wow, you have it. Okay.
Huge.
Gigantic. Okay.
Gigantic 10. Big. It's okay, just try.
Massive.
Yes. Massive. Humongous.
Bombastic.
Ooh.
Wow.
Okay. Guess what? I didn't start the timer. Okay. Anyone? Last try?
Sizable.
Oh.
Whoa.
Sorry?
Immense.
Immense. Okay, immense. Yes, immense is here. Okay, good. Next word. Now I'm going to start the timer. Ready? Okay. Next.
Wait.
Delay.
Patience.
I know.
I Idle, yes.
Lazy.
Lazy, yes.
And
Huh?
Put off.
Put off, yes.
Give up. Wavy story.
Beautiful story, my story, yes.
refuse.
Refuse, 10 more seconds.
Not compact.
You copywriting.
Slow. Slow, yes. Another one is oh, time was up. Okay, next. Ta-da.
Class.
Complicated.
Elegant.
Beautiful. Luxurious.
Luxurious.
Atas.
Atas.
Definitely.
Classy.
Malcolm. Malcolm.
Malcolm, yes. Graceful. 5, 4, 3, 2,
Okay.
distinguished. Okay. And last, second last.
Ideal. Idealistic.
Ideal. Paradise.
Non-existent.
Heaven.
Opposite of dystopia.
Dream, yes, you got it. Fantasy, yes.
Heaven.
Heaven.
Heavenly.
Dreamland.
Heavenly.
5,
Perfect.
4,
Dream. Perfect.
3, 2, 1, yes. Okay, great. Last one.
Join.
Control.
Analyze.
Gather.
Together.
Yes.
Collect.
Collect, yes.
Restructure.
Collect.
Collect.
Combine.
Combine. Coordinate. Coordinate.
Unite.
Unite.
Gather.
5 more seconds.
Gather.
Assemble. Gather. Assemble, yes. And done. Thanks, sir. Good job. That's a warm up. Very good for you. Now, when I show those words, was it easy for you to just quickly find shorter words?
No.
For some, yes. For some, no. And this brings to my first message. Why it is important to keep your words short. This is one thing I realized when I went to the world stage. I expected people there very eloquent in English. I mean, we are a Toastmasters club, But one thing I realized is most of the members there are non-native speakers of English. So, if you use big words in your speeches, high chance is they won't understand it. Or they will take some time to find a word to understand your message and then run after you because you have moved on with your message, with your speech. And that is the danger, and that I learned through my journey being a speaker and writing my competition speeches. That is one thing I learned to be very important in my speech writing. To keep words very short and simple because you really do not want to add load unnecessarily to a person's mind if your message is what you want to present to people. That brings me to the next point, which is the call to action. Call to action. How many of you know this term? Okay, can I have Celia?
Call to action is something that you present to the audience at the end of the speech, suggesting to them as to what the next step the audience will take
Yes.
related to what is the message.
Okay, Sadiq,
Something you want the audience to take action upon.
take action upon. Jonathan, right?
An invitation.
An invitation. Okay, great. These are all good interpretations of call to action, and they're all correct. Call to action is, if you were to imagine for those non-Toastmasters, if you meet someone who is struggling out there, and if that person doesn't want to listen to you about anything, you don't have the ability to influence that person so much to make them sit down for a long time, what are the short few words you can tell that person to impact them? If there's anything that you don't remember, everything you don't remember, one thing that you can tell that person, what is that message? So usually this is called what call to action is called means. I'm sorry. Yeah. So having call to actions that are short and simple is also important. The other thing that is important about call to action is that it has to be something that's repeated in your speech. When I was presenting and writing my speeches, I I hate it when I realize that I have to change my title. Because when you change your title, chances are everything about your speech has to change too. This is because usually the call to action is what the title is. And it will be very wise if you keep your call to action as your title, because before you start speaking, that is the first impression people have of you. So if you see the past champions, all their call to actions are their titles. For example, Darren Tate, outstare, outlast, right? Mine, what are you waiting for? Ramona's speech, this year's champion or last year's champion, she's still standing. Katani, the power of words. And if you notice in their speeches, these phrases are repeated throughout their speeches. So if you struggle to find a content, a topic to write about, just start thinking about short phrases. What are those impactful short words that you can jumble up, piece together to make a call to action that is effective for someone, for anyone actually. Yeah. So my next task for you is, Elise gave me like A4 size papers, but since call to actions are supposed to be short and simple, you're gonna write a nice glittery, sparkly papers. Okay, spread out. Try it out, because it would be a waste if you don't. As many as you can. One per person, yes. At the back as well. If you do not have a pen, please let me know. No, okay.
Anyone need 10?
10. Yeah. To help you further with your task, you can use your phone. This is what I did when I was coming up with call to actions. I go to adjectives or action words, and just Google for action words, and I use those to come up with just simple action words. This helps to, if you were to think like if you want to give instructions to small kids, you have to like come sit down now, those kind of things. And those are good call to actions. Try it. Seize the day.
So it can literally be about anything, like just
Anything.
random words.
Yes, because the beauty about Toastmasters is you speak about anything. It's good and bad. The bad thing is you really have to be creative lah. You have to come up with any topic. Yeah, just call to actions. Yeah, just action words. People at the back then. Anyone still struggling? No problem. This is really just impromptu. Some really very good. Very good. Okay, now this is another exercise that I want you to do. I'm going to split you. There are 18 people here into two groups. 9 and 9. Okay, finish already? Yeah? Okay. I know you two come together, so I don't want to separate you. Okay? So, this is where the two teams divide. Okay? Then, what they're going to do now is one person from, I'm randomly going to call one person from each side to say out one of their maybe most favorite call to action in their list. And the other side, your task is to suggest where or who would this call to action be relevant to. Okay? Okay? Ready? And now you know which thing you're in, eh?
We can just say anything. The content.
Anything. Yeah, the context. Okay?
Malaysia, Singapore.
Malaysia, Singapore. Causeway.
Singapore.
Okay. Then I'll get season Toastmaster first. Sophia.
Okay. My title is Aim for Progression, not Perfection.
Aim for progression, not perfection. Okay. So your side. Who would benefit listening to that?
Working people.
Working people?
Perfectionist.
Perfectionists. Okay. Why?
Well, perfectionists will always aim for perfection, right? And now we're telling them that there's a different point of view where it's progression is better than perfection.
Okay, great. Okay, let's move to your side. Sorry, Tony? Josh.
Look up, look far.
Wow.
Okay, look up, look far. Come.
Must be a captain of a navy or something.
Can apply to anyone.
Anyone. What kind of story? What kind of struggle is it?
Bring a change.
Bring a change. Look up, look far. Would it affect? Would it be beneficial for someone who's struggling? I wish it's here. Welcome. Look up, look far. Good. Very motivational story. Good. Okay, now I haven't spoken to the people here. Now your turn. Let's see this side. You.
Start your journey towards security.
Start your journey towards security. Okay. Who would that benefit?
Working adults wanting to save money.
Okay. Insurance, CPF, yeah. That's it? Okay. Some more? Any others?
I think fresh graduate will also benefit from that.
Sorry?
I think fresh graduate will also
Fresh
benefit.
graduates. You're a fresh grad.
So soon.
University students.
Yes. Your journey towards security. How would that help you?
It will really help because it will really help because fresh grads we always think about the now, and then we are confused. We start it's faced with in our life where we're faced with something completely different from the 2 decades we lived before. So once you give us this kind of thing, it will give the perspective that okay, you might think that you're achieving something now, but it's not the end. Like you got to start planning for the future also. Maybe it's good like that.
See, just few words there. Apply immediately to fresh grad. Okay, next one. Here, have you said anything?
No.
No. Okay, come.
It's correct. I just put be strong.
Be strong. Okay, be strong. How would that help?
And you walking through a difficult situation.
Okay, challenge. Challenge. Find a funny context where that will help. Funny context. Twist it.
Man who's being bullied by the wife.
Yes. See, very relevant, relatable, funny. Okay, we can go on and on about this, but I think you got the idea about how important this call to action is. And the exercise that I gave you just now is to help you develop your stories. Because the main struggle many speakers or aspiring speakers they have is in getting content. The thing about Toastmasters is they give you the structure on how to write it. They don't tell you what to write about. So if you're going to continue just being very creative all the time, this is the kind of exercise that will be helpful for you. So a call to action will be supported with correct context. And that comes to my last tip for you, which is once you have this call to action, when you have a speech, a 5 to 7 minute speech, come up with 3 stories, 3 different settings, which was why I asked you what context would that thing be helpful, who would benefit listening to this, because that would then give you the channel to get your stories from. When I was talking about procrastination, I first started my first ever speech about procrastination. I spoke about my mother-in-law, who then passed on. Okay, enough. And then, no, I love her. It's not that, it's just a very sad story, so I don't talk about it. But then I also talked about Justin Timberlake in his story in the movie called Time. Who has watched that? In Time.
The one where he has time, then he had to steal people's time to give
Yes,
up the things
that
and all
one. That was my first speech. Very impactful, right? The scene that affected me the most then was when he was chasing after his mom to save her after he got that much time. And they were just separated by this much. He couldn't save her. That was the impact of procrastination. And I used that as an example in my speech. So if you struggle to find real life examples, if your life, if you think my life so boring, I don't know what to write about, fine, watch TV, watch movies, you can do that. Because I definitely got my inspiration from that movie. And after that I just went on like, hey, actually, there are procrastinators at home. I sleep with him every night. So I talked about how he doesn't want to throw the trash. Yes. So that's why I got into the top 10, because apparently there are many husbands out there who don't throw the trash. So that is the essence of procrastination, and it takes a while. It definitely took me a very long time to find the actual most effective story to present my message. So that is why practice is important. So if you are struggling to find your reason to compete, don't think of it as a competition. Just think of it as your practice to come up with that message, so that if at all you find someone who's struggling, you can say those words effectively and impact that person immediately. And with that, all the best.